Gentlemen, when it comes to men's grooming and hygiene, there are two products that I personally feel are critical. Number one is a great deodorant. My favorite deodorant of all time is by a company called Recipe for Men. It's a liquid, it's a roll-on. The reason I love this deodorant is that it works like crazy. It's a great antiperspirant deodorant. It also doesn't have a very strong or pungent smell. It's expensive. It's like $22 for a deodorant, right? I'll link to everything I'm talking about today down in the description over on Amazon if you're interested. Recipe, great product. The other downside is that it has aluminum. One of the reasons why it doesn't let you sweat is because of aluminum. And the more I read and research about aluminum, the more I'm like, do I want to use it? My favorite affordable drugstore brand of deodorant is AaronMarino, but once again, this also is antiperspirant, and so it does have aluminum. I've tried a ton of cheap drugstore brands, everything from Degree to Speed Stick to Axe, and honestly, AaronMarino, in my opinion, is the best. But once again, it does have aluminum in it. And so I was super excited to try the new deodorant by AaronMarino called the Essentials. No aluminum, no parabens, and it uses baking soda to absorb and stop odor. Smells awesome, super mild, super fresh, and it works great. It's not an antiperspirant, so it's not going to keep you from sweating, but it definitely will keep you from stinking, and if you don't want to use aluminum, this is an incredible option. And the other men's grooming and hygiene essential is a great powder. I personally feel like powders should be up there with deodorant in terms of a guy should use it every single day to eliminate wetness, to eliminate odor. Fact, it is a hot, dark, damp, sweaty mess down your pants, and in case you missed the manhood memo, your balls stink. And let's not forget about Musky Nut's ugly older brother, Swamp Ass. That's going on too, and you need to control it. How are you gonna do that? Powder. Gentlemen, everybody knows by now that I am a chassis man. Chassis is the only powder that I've been using for the past few years. Personally, I feel like chassis is a category killer. There's nothing better on the market. Now, in full disclosure, Chassis has sponsored probably 10 of my videos. I've met the owner. I think he's a super guy. I love Chassis. Why do I love Chassis so much? Well, number one, it works. It works better than anything on the market. The reason is because Chassis is not using what everything else uses, which is talc. Every other ball powder, body powder, baby powder you're going to find on the market other than Chassis is a talc-based product. Why is talc an issue? The more I read about talc, the more I think that there might be possibly some issues with it. So much so that there's actually an article that I will link to down below on cancer.org. When talc gets wet, it turns into a paste. Check it out. Put some talc in a glass, add water, aka your sweat, and then mix it up. And what you're going to be left with is a wet, talky, pasty mess in your pants. But with Chassis, what you're left with is nothing but powder. That demonstration never gets old. I swear. It's like grooming voodoo. There's nothing on the market that touches Chassis. And that's why I say it's a category killer. The reason is because instead of using talc, they use other botanicals like baking soda. They also use pumpkin seed, hops, witch hazel, all sorts of natural ingredients that keep you dry as Chassis uses premium ingredients, but as a result, it's a premium product. It's going to be a bit more expensive than your standard talc-based powder, but not crazy. It's like $18 on Amazon. I'll link to Chassis down below if you want to grab some. It's the best on the market, but I am a realist. Some dudes are like, yo, Alpha, I don't want to shop on Amazon. I don't want to use the best. Whatever. Is there a cheaper, more accessible option? Sure. The problem is that I've been using Chassis so long, I don't know which talc product that they sell at the drugstore or grocery store is the best. And so I went to the drugstore the other day and I grabbed these three, and then I did a little experiment. And for 3 days, I tested each one of these products to see which one held up to the alpha funk. So that I could tell you basically which one of the talc-based powders that you can find at the drugstore is the best. Day number 1, I used Johnson & Johnson baby powder. You know, baby powder is the most readily available stuff you'll ever find. The smell, you smell like a baby. And that is probably one of the biggest things that I did not like about baby powder. It smells like a baby. And honestly, I feel like it smells a little bit feminine. How did it work? It worked okay up until about noon. I put it on after my shower at around 9:30. At noon, I started to notice that I wasn't quite feeling as dry. At the end of the day, I go and work out. And so by the time I got home, I was funky. And so this stuff, I wasn't real wild about. But would it work in a pinch? Yes. Next up, day number 2, I was taking Gold Bond for a little test drive on the testes. Gold Bond has been around for years. It's the OG, right? Medicated. The odor is actually, it smells like medicine. It kind of smells and reminds me of a hospital. I'm not real wild about the odor, but some people actually like it. I used it. It was very, very cooling. Right out of a hot shower after shaving, it was intense to the point of being uncomfortable for me. But I just shaved my balls, and they're generally a little more sensitive right after that and a hot shower. It did. Good news for you is that I saved you the gory details of the application demonstration. Gentlemen, I used Gold Bond, and the cooling went away after about 20 minutes, and it was pleasant. It was fine. It definitely was a bit better, in my opinion, than the baby powder. By noon, I was still totally cool. By around 2, 3 o'clock, my day starts to heat up, and apparently so do my private parts, and it wasn't working as well. At night, I went to the gym, got home, and it was almost like I didn't have anything on. This kind of totally like went away for some reason, which is weird. I might not have used as much as I used the day before with the baby powder. Day number 3, I was actually super excited to try this. It's a new product by Gold Bond, specifically designed for men. It's got Refresh 360 scent, and the scent is much more pleasant and manly in a fresh, light sort of way than the standard Gold Bond, and definitely more manly than baby powder. And this, honestly, for me, this performed much better than standard Gold Bond for whatever reason. I'm not sure what other. Main ingredient is talc, but it's also got zinc oxide. It's got sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda, and that is the main ingredient in chassis. And so I wasn't surprised when this worked a lot better. And so out of the 3 products, this definitely is the best between baby powder and standard classic Gold Bond. The cost was around like $8. It didn't necessarily last all day. After the gym, I was fresher than the other 2 days, but it was better. And most people aren't, going to the gym and then immediately expecting to get freaky. But I can with chassis, and that's one of the reasons why I love it. Powders are just as critical and as essential as deodorant in the men's grooming and hygiene game. I think, honestly, if we as men could smell our butts and our crotches like we can our armpits, it wouldn't even be a question. So I hope you found this helpful. If you dig it, give this video a big thumbs up, and down in the comments, if there's a category that you would like me to find a drugstore cheap alternative to find the best, in my opinion, like body wash or pomades or whatever, down in the comments, let us know. You rock so hard, it is ridiculous.